Hi there. My name is Chris Farah. Welcome to this YouTube. Now, I'm going to tell you this right now. It is period 2 or 3 of me doing a StreamYard. And I just realized after Juan and I have been talking for 15 minutes that I had not pushed the live broadcast. And now that you know that Wah, who has gone to check on her dog, does not know that everything that we said prior was not broadcast. So you get to see her live reaction when she realizes that I messed up. And I only knew that when I started to look down and see that comments weren't talking about us. Hi, my name is Chris. Welcome to YouTube. What a night. Well, the night is 90 Day Fiancé Season 8. It's the tell-all. Now, part 1 is important to say. What a juicy one. I really, really enjoyed this one. I felt like we were back in real time, pre-COVID time, honey. It was juicy, 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 like the beautiful, like a Chateaubriand, like on the bias cut, honey, if you're going to cut it. But I mean, marinated truffle butter. I mean, like Sean Robinson comes in and and I said this, Sean comes in just looking radiant, looking on top of her game with a lot of personality because she's been able to, I think, flourish within the platform of the live Discovery Plus, where she's now able to just host all of them. And so I think with all of that extra money, you know what I'm saying? She is really feeling it. So the Sean that we see at this reunion is such a different Sean than the one that we've gotten in previous ones. For instance, this Sean is someone who says, "Welp." Now I'll tell you that was not a previous Sean. A previous Sean would not have said "welp" with a P at the end, a hard P. But that is what we're into now. I love you guys. I'm so excited that you guys are here. That's hilarious. Wah's back now. Wah is on mute, but let me tell Wah just what happened. Wah, guess what?
Guess what? I heard you were talking about Arabs and their makeup and Armenians makeup.
No, but guess what?
What?
No. Listen, that whole time we talked, my love, was not broadcasting on YouTube because I never put go to live until someone about 5 minutes ago started saying, "Where's Chris and Wah?" And I looked down and I was like, so crazy. I wonder, why are they seeing me? And it's because I hadn't done it. Wah. Thoughts about what a dumb person I am and how you hate me as a friend.
Okay. Oh my God, you guys.
What?
We were talking since 7:05.
Yeah.
Wow. I did the same thing too once, but I
How long were you talking though?
5 minutes.
Yeah, we talked 15 minutes, honey, 15 minutes.
Oh my God. So that whole thing about Armenian people, Armenian and your Syrian, no? Okay. So Welp, that's why we're back to Welp. Okay. Well, I mean, let me tell you what I did in the meantime. I brought my dog in. I went and got my laundry.
You said you brought your dog in? I'm sorry, where's Charlie?
She was outside. Hello. First of all, hi guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. And I'm on Chris's show. And we're talking about the tell-all. And Charlie was barking. And so I closed my window. But while I was up, I said, why not just bring Charlie in? So I went outside, I got her, I put her in her room, make sure she had her pee pads and her water. Then I boiled some water because I was like, I would like some tea. Double chai tea, please. So I got some water and did that. Then I went and got my clothes out of the dryer because I was multitasking. Yeah.
It's like she wasn't even on this live. I mean, God bless.
I was like, I'm going to multitask. Just for you guys to know, if you follow me on Instagram, you know I wear this a lot. This is fresh out of the dryer. So it's actually pretty good, pretty clean. So hello, everyone.
Can you believe our lives? I'm so mad at myself.
Well, it's a do-over. You get to do it again.
Yeah, we were right. Well, it is a do-over. So we're going to talk about how everyone starts coming in because, as we said, it's near impossible 2, talk about the live or a tell-all just by the segments of the actual couples. It's much easier to
do it
just
linear.
go in linear order. So we're going to do that. So everyone, honey, starts to come. And the first time we see them, our first thoughts are, well, who's together? Who's not together? Who's going to be there? You know, first couple we see, I think, is Brandon and Julia. Julia, as what I would say. Julia.
Julia showed up. She was ready for the cheese-may. She was ready. This is the first time she's been let out of the house, honey, okay? She was ready to meet all the couples that she's had this parallel journey with, people she's been watching and judging on TV, and she was ready, and Brandon was not going to be her wingman, you know? She's like, ooh, I wondered this, and Brandon's like, I don't really know, and you're just like, I hate you.
Yeah, you're the worst. You know that Julia is like having the time of her life, probably. I think they're filming this in New York, right? Like she'd probably just be like, Brandon, let's go to Times Square. Brandon, let's go to eat at the Olive Garden at Times Square. Brandon, let's go.
Yeah,
See,
Brandon, let's go to Red Lobster, Brandon. Look,
What?
Brandon, police station at Red Lobster, BB King's. And Red Lobster in Times Square, Brandon.
Brandon, I want a pineapple drink. Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
I do want a pineapple drink.
Yeah, I do too.
Nuts, Brandon, I want freshly roasted nuts mix bag.
Halal food, Brandon. Halal food, Brandon.
Ooh. Oh my God! What I would give to eat like a greasy, smelly, smelly, multi-coursed meal of street food from New York, like something meaty, and then like a nut, or like a nut or two, and then like what would you like a drink, but why? Like what would you get for someone who lived in New York?
First, I would start off my day at Alice's Teacup, which is a tea shop that does specialized loose leaf tea, and they have
Natalie would love that.
Mm-hmm. They have tea parties, and so you can go in, and all the little girls and their friends, and then me and my adult friends, we have a tea party where we order like an English breakfast where it comes in those 3-tiered things, and it'll have like a scone, a like cucumber. Thing, and then, oh, so delicious. And then, so that is like Upper East Side, or like a little bit above, and that's like 70 something, okay, on the East Side. And then I would travel down to Midtown and get some like really, or like Koreatown, and just go and get some. She'll be back. I'll go and get some like really good Korean food, sing some karaoke it's on 42nd and like 2nd. I can't remember the name of it. I used to go to the Cave, which was on like 15th, like right by Union Square. And then I would do Karaoke 1. That was a good spot to go to in New York for karaoke. I would also just get ramen. I know Chris will be mad at me, but I still eat my ramen. So there's that.
I know you eat your ramen. I mean, really, I was talking about street food, my love, but like you really just like, here's a full day in New York, 24 hours.
I didn't want to get sick, and just in case. I did have chestnuts roasting on an open fire during the holiday once, and it was dry AF, and I'd never do it again.
I don't really like chestnuts. Anyway, but so Natalie, so Julia is like hot coming in. And she also, besides the fact that she's probably like the world's worst tourist in New York, is like so excited to give her opinion in the kind of way that like a recapper or like fan would. She acts like a super fan of the show, like, but also someone who like would go to the actual cast members' Instagrams and like leave comments. Yeah. Just like, Julia, like we don't need like everyone's opinion, honey. You're like 20 nothing. You know what I'm saying? There's also like, what is it? Well, do you feel like there's also just like something with the younger generation nowadays where like they're super opinionated, where you're like, you haven't like breathed enough oxygen to like formulate an opinion yet, like on this earth.
I'm Julia, and Julia is me. Like I used to be I'm still very opinionated, and you got myself into like my early 20s were a hot mess, except for I was like Julia, except for without all the face to go with it. I was like a ragtag, ragamuffin, wear the same 5 outfits every day, like hair looking crazy person. Chris knows this person who tried to audition for America's Top Model. Chris, you know that person, right?
So like, Sixers.
Yeah, that person. I was Julia. Julia was me. But I think that she just comes off as judgmental, as Yara stated, and that's the problem. Like, you can't say something, you can't make a blanket statement, and then when people attack you, go, "Oh no, this is just my opinion. I say my opinion." But no, you just said your opinion in a way that's really judgmental, especially when you told such and such to just go to the gym. But
yeah, like, but it's just my opinion. But Brandon, if you do that, I kill you. But that's okay if you do it because your husband doesn't care about you. But Brandon, you're just like, all right,
yeah.
Julia, like.
So the first couple that they end up talking about is Natalie and Mike, and it is so uncomfortable. At the point, very beginning, Natalie refuses to answer a question. And then
they
Sean asks
answer why they come separately. They're like, why? They won't even answer that. They're like, I don't understand. Like, you were about to be in a tell something, tell a nod. Like, you are on the show, you come separately, and everyone's like, why do you guys separately? And then they're both just like, Natalie's like, well, Mike. Like, I actually tweeted this. It feels like, this is what it feels like. Every time you ask Mike and Natalie a question, it feels like they have just committed a huge murder. And they are sitting on that secret. And they're just like, well, you say something first. Just like, oh, what is this? And we also like only mildly care about your storyline now. And everything is so like.
Yeah. No one cares about you guys. So if you, at the very least, give us a little something, and you're going to be on HEA. The last time we left off, you guys were married. And now we get here and you're not coming in together. And then we have to watch an HEA. And this is the tell-all you give us. Listen, commit to the show, okay? Commit to being an actress. Commit to the Emmy Awards that you want to win. Commit. Because otherwise, why are we watching you? And like, Mike never has anything to say, but their segment was good only because of Tamara and the mother, Trisha.
I mean, their segment was fucking fire. And like, I'm sorry that I cursed, but like what was revealed was so good. I mean, this was a great segment. So, okay. So let me just say, so Brandon and Yara come in. Jovi and Yara come in, and there's like, we didn't even talk about this because there's tension between Julia and Yara, and we don't know why. At first, we're like, are they friends? And we want them to be friends. We've wanted them to be friends the whole time. And the first time they come in, they start speaking the same language, Russian. That's probably the language. And we're like, yes, we're so excited. We're like, yes, like you guys get each other, like you're sisters, like you're Eastern European sisters. And like, Julia, yes, like you can finally have a person be like, can you believe this happened to me? And like, Yara can be like, girl, let me like put you under like the out here. Let me share one of the blazers my jacket coat sleeves for you, Julia, and you become with me or whatever. And like, you're like, oh my God, we're into it. But then they start talking about how there's been some drama on social media and how they are like they have a sarcastic relationship. And then of course, as we get into this reunion, what we realize is that they are like very weirdly competitive of who has it worse. And almost it's like in a crazy situation. But Yara comes in also like weird about Julia, very into Rebecca's like, Rebecca, you look great. Zied, Rebecca are on fire. Of course, Mike comes in, doesn't talk to anyone. Natalie comes in, as I said, separate. Everyone like clocks that. We're going to get into the Mike and Natalie segment, which we've like dipped a toe into. But first I need to say this, and this wasn't on the show either. I love Wa's makeup tonight. I love it. And guess whose makeup I didn't love? Natalie's. Okay, Wa, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I know you said A, so I was like A, B, C. Oh. Okay, Natalie's makeup. It
you was. You a picture of it right away. You saw, you can.
I definitely clocked it. It was an eyelash from here to here.
Oh my God! What?
Here to here. It was a wing. It was a gray, brown nude, and an overdrawn lip. She was giving us Eastern European.
Yes.
Lady of the night.
Yes.
It's too much. The lip. She's wearing my lip color.
Yes.
On her skin tone.
Yes.
And like, I just.
Yes.
it was like, and she had a nice little sexy heel, you know, it just didn't go with it. It was like a red dress with a puffy, like a peplum puffy sleeve, a black shoe, and she kept her foot, like her foot was out, like it was like,
okay, yeah,
she was sitting like a beauty queen, and with the one foot in front so that we could see the arch of her foot in the strappy shoe. But yeah, like it was too much is what it was.
I can't believe those eyelashes. When I saw those eyelashes, I mean, like, I can't remember if I said this. Now, this is where Wah came in and so talk about the Armenian thing. Because if you came into this video and you heard what I was talking about, and this is what the reference is, this is where I realized that I had not broadcasted. It is very, okay, it is obvious that A, Sharp gives none of these ladies any sort of budget for hair and makeup, period, the end. So we get Julia with a very, very, like, beautiful, but, like, very natural, like, you know, eyelash, and that's, like, it. Like, Julia didn't even paint her faces for the eyelashes or whatever. And, like, obviously, Yara is, like, a professional makeup artist for some reason. She looks gorgeous. She does her makeup beautifully. Rebecca does the best she can. That's fine. Natalie, honey, this is Natalie. Now, Natalie, we've seen so many looks, specifically this season with Natalie, like, and I die for a lot of Natalie looks. Like, I die for her serum skin looks where it's like hardly any makeup, those blue eyes, and like a pink lip. Are you just like, oh my God, you're gorgeous. So that is why I can talk about this, because this is even more confusing than the confessional looks where we got that like weird burgundy like lip that like just migrated all over her face and into her teeth, and at one point she just ripped it off and then started doing the rest of the season without that lip, honey, which thank God. So in this situation, it's very obvious that like she went to a makeup artist, that she didn't do this herself, but she went to a makeup artist that is of a foreign, and artist is of a foreign nature. This is a very obviously foreign aesthetic to makeup. The eyelashes and the color palette. Like, the color palette is so wrong for her in every way. And like, it's not just the lips, but it's the lips and the bronzer look and the lashes. It's so harsh, and it's so truly like, I mean, I want so badly to change it, obviously. I just would like to know.
It would have worked a little better, or we would have been able to see. It just looked out of place on her face. Now, if her hair had been straightened and like clipped in with billowy things, and like she had been wearing like a ball gown or like a fancy dress, maybe it would have been okay. But it was just too much for this tell-all. And, you know, this is just what she's going to have to suffer with from. She's going to have to be talked about it so that she'll fix it. You know, the best way to change the way people do things is to shame them.
Right. Which is like what Sean does by this. Oh, look at this. Oh, thank you so much for this super chat. Yay.
Oh, wait. Do you want my coffee maker?
Yes, please. Yay. This is from Vicky Vale, 83. Yay. Oh my God, look at how beautiful she is. I made it to a duo live finally. I don't even watch the show anymore. I can't wait for you and Juan to review the show so I can catch up. Oh my God. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this amazing super chat, and for you for this comment. Also, like, wow, look at her picture. She's gorgeous. Look at her cool hair. You can see the like beautiful gold accents. Mm-hmm. Oh my God. Okay. Thank you so much. So Sean really is like, again, showing her personality in this thing. She gets the Mike and Natalie segment, and she straight up is just like, now I'll be honest, Mike and Natalie, like when I saw you guys last, it was the tell-all, and I cannot believe you were even on this season. Like, much less I can't believe you're on next season, but I can't even believe you're on this season. Like, you guys are really not gonna last. Like, no one thinks it, and I never thought it. My name is Sean Robinson.
Let's cut to the clip.
Yeah.
Then it's like, Natalie, do you love Mike? And then she might as well have turned to Natalie and been like, Natalie, again, do you love Mike? Mike.
Yeah. Yes. So many looks at each other. Like, that is why I'm like, what is this? Is there a secret that you're not saying? Where's the body? I mean, obviously I know where the body is in the Squim Forest, honey, like there's a lot of land where that body is. But like, why are they always like, what's secret? Just talk. Do you know you're on a show where you're supposed to talk? Like, I don't know. But anyway, also, yeah, so then it's Sean's like, well, Natalie, like they do this like on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think your relationship is? And we're like, -4. All of us are like -4. And then Natalie is like, yeah. And we're like, 6.
And then Mike is like, 7. I'm like, did you only say 7 because she said 6? Say 6 too, fool. You guys didn't come together. You're married. You didn't come to this thing together.
Yeah. Like, okay. If you are married and you are at a 6 or 7 in your relationship, you would still come to the reunion in the same car of the show that you are on. If you like threes and 4s are where they're at. I mean, it also looks like. Also, I need to know everything. They're at a hotel. Obviously, Andrew's like they're all at a hotel. They're in New York. So is Natalie and Mike not staying in the same hotel? Did they not fly together to New York? Like, I need why aren't we given all of that information?
You know what? And I know that it's Natalie is the reason why they didn't show up together. And I'm sick. I'm honestly sick of her pouty, like manipulative behavior. And I think what happens is that she refuses to get in the car. She refuses to talk to him. She refuses to do certain things in order to get him to crawl to her. And it never works. It hasn't worked the last 2 years we've been watching them. And so he just ends up sitting there being stoic. So it is just like, it is quite unfortunate. And I'm sure they got into an argument, which is what always happens, is they get into an argument off camera. And then when they go on camera, they don't want to talk about the argument, or they talk about it and it sounds stupid. And then Mike is in his feelings, and then she's over there pouting. Like it's ridiculous. Like they say that they're at a 6, they're not at a 6. And then we move forward.
There's no way.
No, there's no way at all. And then like we move forward and they start to talk about oh shoot, it was just in my head and it escaped me. They start to talk about no, don't they talk about where he went on his why he said denied the wedding, why he canceled the wedding. And then
they talk about all of this, yes.
They talk about why he canceled the wedding. And then of course she does the same thing where she's like and so then Mike is like, I feel shitty about it. And then Tariq jumps in and is like, man, that was really messed up what you did. And he's like, I'm not gonna lie, I got cold feet, and we were fighting the night before, and blah blah blah. And then he talks about going off into the Squim Woods, like, so wherever that body is buried, he went to that site to hang out there for a while to get himself some fresh air. And he was gone for 6 hours. She couldn't get in contact with him. So she freaks out and calls Tamara. Tamara, in a drunken, haze, was like, it's probably our bachelor party. And so then she all of a sudden goes, oh, bachelor party, he's cheating on me. His face right now in another woman's vagina. And so then he gets back. They have a huge argument. The next morning, she's flitting around like a fairy. And then he's like, we can't get married. And like in that moment, I understand why he did that. Like, why would you marry somebody who is just being a pain in your butt at all times? Like, you just can't ever do anything right. And this person is fighting with you and you guys are arguing.
Now, we all know, everyone here, they should not be together. There's not one person that's like, I mean, maybe Tamara was like, I've seen some of the good moments or whatever. Like, okay, Tamara, but like, not enough, honey, not enough. Okay. And like, everyone knows that they're supposed to be bad. But the way that Mike handled it is so weak and so horrible. And even he is just like, yeah, you can't just like leave and be in the middle of nowhere, some woman like you're supposed to be with the night before your wedding. Like you just can't like without like her knowing. Like that's so rude. And the fact that like Tamara at first tried to be like, I didn't say the thing about the bachelorette party, and then was like, oh, if I did, I don't remember, you know, because like Natalie's like pissed about that and like pushing her about that. I mean, like everything about this. What?
She was drunk. She had a whole case of natty ices. Tamara, she was drunk.
Well, of course she was. You know, like that's how they listen. Bo, all of them, Mike, they got to drink. There's nothing to do in Squim. It's freezing. You know, like you got to keep warm. Some they're not tea drinkers. You know what I'm saying? They're not having a scone and a cucumber sandwich, honey. All right. So like, yeah. So also like Sean is like, Natalie, you wearing your ring, the ring that you made such a goddamn big deal about. You kept talking about that ring, wearing it now, Natalie, number 6 and 7, Natalie. And Natalie's like, no. I left it at home because I was afraid I was going to lose it. And Sean's like,
who believes this? Who believes this? Everyone raise your hand if you believe it. And then we have Jovi like Jovi now.
Yeah. We didn't ask who wants a stripper lap dance, Jovi. Wait, you know, so I love this so much. This is like making my life right now. Okay, so I'm sorry. I have like my notes and I'm like have my tweets I want to talk about. Okay, so let's go on from Mike and Natalie and move on from that segment. Unless I think we've said everything we can. There's like this great.
Talk about Trisha. No, go Trisha.
You want to talk about Trisha and her mom? Okay, sorry, yeah. So, oh my God, we forgot. But this is so crazy. So we get to have Trisha and come in, and Trisha like gives us a whole bunch of information. And one of it is that Mike was talking to her the whole time and being like, this isn't working out, and I want to like spy her ticket to send her home. And it feels like Trish just comes into this reunion being like, I'm going to let this all hang out. And Natalie like didn't know, which is confusing. Natalie knew that Mike was going to buy her a ticket to go home because when she left to go to the hotel with a whole fiasco of the ID, she had a ticket to fly to Paris.
Yes, but Trish is telling them that it happened before that. That Mike is saying the conversation happened after Natalie had left. Trish is saying that it happened prior to. And so it changes the timeline of when Mike was already thinking about buying her a ticket and sending her home. And so then when they announced that the wedding was actually happen, Trish called Tamara and said, hey, will you stand up and object to this marriage if it's said during the wedding? And Tamara says, no, I won't do this. And this shows everybody in the TV. This gets Natalie very upset because I guess this whole time she expects Trish to be impartial, but Trish made some valid points. Natalie has done nothing but insult Mike, try to change Mike and make him feel guilty for who he is the entire time that she's been there. And Mike has unfortunately used his mother as a sounding board when he should have used a best friend. He didn't have one male friend that he can call and talk about this to, someone who doesn't have a dog in this fight. No, he talks to his mother, who is naturally going to be on his side because that's her son. So then we have Rebecca and everybody on stage that's like, oh, Trish is so wrong. She should have never done that. Her son's a grown-ass man, yada, yada, yada. But let me tell you right now, if any one of my family members was calling me, crying on my shoulder about some person that they're dating, who they're going back and forth in a relationship with and being whatever, no, would I stand up and say, you know, whatever, no, I object to this wedding? No, because that's not my place as a cousin or a sibling. But as a parent, I might. And if Rebecca paid half the attention to her children as she did to her own love life, then she would probably do the same thing if her son was in this exact same position. For Rebecca to set up there and say that because she has 3 grown-ass kids, she would never do something like that. And I'm like, you know why? It's because you're still out in the field like your kids, because you are still out there dating. If you were somebody who wasn't out there dating, who was chill, had a husband, had figured out love or figured out marriage or figured out any one of your past relationships, you would be like, oh, no, I object. But because you're out there floundering in the world as well and worried about you finding the 5th person you've decided is the love of your life and who you're going to spend the rest of your life with, that's the reason why you're not so much worried about your kids and their relationships. So that's what I think about that shit. I was so mad at Rebecca. I was like, bitch, you should be worried about your son. Trisha is not out of pocket for doing what she did. Is it messed up? Yes, but it's not like out of character for a mother to do something like that.
Why didn't Trish want to do it herself?
She wasn't at the wedding.
Why didn't she go to the wedding?
COVID.
I guess that was my point. Like, why put that on someone who, especially, you know, like, and also, what did she expect? I mean, I don't know. What did she expect Tamara to like say? Like, I object. Like, on what grounds? Like,
your mama don't like this marriage.
Yeah, or I'm in love with him. You know, what are you gonna say? Like, you know, like if I was the mom, if I was Trish, honey, I'll tell you what I would have done. Go to Mike's hairdresser. And like, I need a haircut. First of all, give me a haircut. Gotten a new haircut. Number 1, Trish priorities. Number 2, be like, oh, by the way, will you seduce my son away from the evil woman that he's with? Please.
I mean, it wouldn't work. Like, Natalie
would work more than Tamara objecting the day of the wedding.
You're right.
I'm just saying. You know, because I think at the end of the day, Mike is lonely.
Yeah.
That's the only reason why that he flirted with, like, being with Natalie. Like, he is lonely and wants, like, a companionship from, like, a woman that he finds attractive. And, like, how great that she also cooks and cleans. And what he doesn't realize is that she is in every way disgusted with the person that he is. I mean, I guess he does feel that, you know, like, I guess, you know, he gets the fact that she just is constantly like, ugh, Mike, it's not good enough for me. Not, this is not good. Your diet's not good. You drink too much alcohol. This home is not good enough. It's not warm enough. And I'm high class and you are low class. And I'm pretty and you are ugly. And I am skinny and you are fat. And I am smart and you are dumb. You know, like,
of Mike. I'm gonna send you a picture of Mike. It's in. Are you in the Discord? It's in the Discord. I'm gonna send it to you right now. It is. Can you show pictures on this yet or no?
No, because I don't know how, but I can just do what I did of showing Natalie's makeup, which is just put the picture up.
Can you guys see this picture of this person? Maybe Chris can show you a better picture of him.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Mike is this guy. Okay, this is the guy that Mike is. Look at that. Look at that guy. That's a young picture of him. Okay, so like for him to get Natalie is pretty intense. He's a good-looking guy if he loses weight and like changes up his style, but that guy getting Natalie in any form, you know how men are.
You know, it's interesting because both of them lose, because if Natalie was so smart, she would have known that this wasn't going to work out. Right?
Yeah.
So it's like, you know, if Natalie was like, and obviously I've said this many times, one of the big crux of their relationship that I hated during the season was this back and forth between the hotel and her, honey, when like with a credit card or whatever, because I don't understand how we're supposed to believe that this woman would be tormented the way she is and hates Mike so much. And how could a man do this to me? And yet she wouldn't just have a way to pay for one hotel night one way so she could get her freedom out of the country and back to her life. Like, how we were supposed to believe that for some reason this very smart woman who has a very high IQ and who is upper class in some way in her mind, you know, or whatever, like doesn't have not nary like $200 or hotels, it's nothing to like be able to like not have to like have Mike pay for it. So both of them are horrible, but I think that the demise of this relationship I'm putting on Mike. Because I mean, I don't know. It feels like she was tricking him the whole time or trying to trick him into thinking that she loved him or whatever, or was like going to marry him. And it feels like he knew the whole time that she didn't love him and then just kept trying to like bait her into seeing how far he can push it, you know? And then this is where we are now, which is like, they're not together, but in this tell-all, we get like their relationship is at 6s and 7s when that's not fucking true. And we have Trish, who's like the only one with like any sort of logic being like, I will say, you guys are real sketchy.
Yeah.
Like, I know it's not going to work out. So I don't know why I had to sit here and pretend anything. I'm your mother and I look like this, obviously. I'm not into appearances. I don't like try and keep up for no reason.
I mean, she did her hair. She just did it as though it was 1987. So
did is a very big word. So that's kind of that segment so far. I mean, you know, more of Mike and Natalie happen where like they go to a lunch and then Mike and Natalie tries to talk to them while they're all like eating like out of plastic, and Natalie won't talk to him at all the whole time. Like at one point, it's so interesting because Trish or someone references Rebecca references to Trish that they're holding hands. That do you notice that yeah,
sitting here holding hands, and we cut to and they're not holding hands.
Well, I was like, were they holding hands? I like couldn't see if they were holding hands or not.
By the time the camera panned to them, they were not holding hands.
Yeah.
And maybe she stopped because she doesn't believe Mike about the timeline. Mike's trying to, you know, saying that his mother's wrong. He says that he's not going to choose between these two women. One's his wife and one's his mother. She birthed him, and the other one's his wife, and he loves her. And then she gives him the cold shoulder at lunch after she puts on her face shield and walks away. And again, it's that behavior. Why can't she just tell him what she is feeling instead of giving him the silent treatment? I hate it. It's annoying. It's just annoying. So I think that's where we end with them. And I think the next couple we go on to are Brandon and Julia, right?
Yeah. Yeah. The Brandon and Julia thing kind of gets like Yara, and it gets a little muddy now with like Yara and Julia and Jovi and Yara and Jovi and Brandon and Julia. Like they kind of go back and forth in this like who has it worse or who's out. Like okay.
I missed that part.
Okay, let's go actually, do you mind if we go to Yara and Jovi? I think it goes to Yara and Jovi first, because we get to this point where it's supposed to be like Yara feels bad about the stripper and how Julia would never let that happen. But when it goes to Brandon and Julia, then Yara gets her chance of being like, well, I fucking wouldn't live with it. So anyway, that's why. Okay, so in the Jovi and Yara segment, we get, you know, early on, like, well, it's so great to watch, you know, your children. How's it going? And it looks great. And, you know, Jovi has a great haircut. I really like his haircut. You know, Yara looks good, you know, and maybe the baby's backstage, or maybe Gwen's with the baby. We don't know. But what is obvious is Yara has not watched the whole season yet. So when we get to these Yara Jovi clips, she's watching stuff for the first time, supposedly. Do you believe that, Wa?
I believe that they do that to them to get their initial reaction. I didn't watch this part, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So I love you. So let me tell you what happens. Wow. Just you. So they're like, Jovi and Yara, you know, like now, you know, Deshaun's like, well, you know, Jovi, now that you're a dad, like, do you miss, you know, giving up your old life or whatever? We get into a lot of like Jovi's old life or whatever. And what they do is they play Jovi's bachelor party for Yara, who has never seen it. Yes, yes. So Yara has to sit there while it's all like, welcome. And I'll just remember, and it's like we're here for his, bachelor party, and Carter or whatever her name is, like, I'm Carter, like I'll be here for your divorce party too. And like, Jovi's like, and then like his stupid friend is like, okay, like I want to pay for you to go upstairs, and then Jovi's like, well, you're gonna force me, it takes that blonde bitch upstairs, and like, okay, so at this moment, this is now I realize you did not understand what I said. So Sean Robinson with like a two devils thing come out of Sean Robinson's head, and she's like, Jovi, what happens when you get private lap dances? And Jovi's like, well, you're going to be a stupid question. We all know. Every man knows. And so she's like, men, what does that mean? And she goes around and she's like, Tariq, what does it mean when a man gets a private lap? And Tariq's like, why did it come to me? Why are you coming to me with this or whatever? And Tariq's like, well, you bring a woman upstairs and then you guys start having a political discourse over conversations or whatever. Like,
that's what Tariq says.
Yeah. It was a kind of a cute moment. Yeah, I
great.
thought you'd like it. But like Sean is very much like what happened. And so they have to explain to Yara what happened. Brandon very fast is like, I don't know. I've never been to I don't know why I'm making everyone have a Southern accent. Like Brandon's like, I've never been to a strip club or whatever. And Yara's like, what happens? I don't know what happens, And so they're like, well, she danced on me topless in a G-string. And Sean's like, but she's like grinding on you, right? And they're like, Sean, yes. Just like, Yara starts to cry. Okay, it's really, really sad because she's like, has other things and this, she's like, what can I do? I have to keep eating shit, like she feels like it's like a shitty situation and she doesn't like it and she thinks it's disrespectful to what she can do. Like, she can't tell him not to go to like strip clubs or whatever. And this is when Julia comes in and is like hardcore, like, oh, but I might be so upset that you did these to me. The way she's saying it is like judgmental, right? Because like, right, it's like, this is so bad. It's okay if you do it, but like if you do it, or whatever. And so Gwen comes in and Gwen is like taking Yara aside, is like, I wish he hadn't done that. Like, Jovi, you're so dumb. Like literally your past like 20 years was a bachelor party. You should have just absolutely stayed home with your wife and like blah, 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 blah. And so you really do get this moment of like, I'm so happy that Yara and Gwen have a good relationship, or like a relationship that seems like they speak a common language, which is not Russian, but in some sort of lady language, lady respect language. And what a doofus Jovi is language,
That's nice.
I know you to watch those parts of you to like hear me just talk about it. We also, I will say this, that like this conversation about the strip club, you start to also see like, we haven't talked to Zied yet, right? But we get a lot of Zied's smile reactions during the reunion. And like during the strip club, like Zied's having the smile reactions because he, he's like, is that what happens?
I don't think Zied even understands half of what's going on. I think people are speaking too fast.
Maybe. But, he does speak fluent French. So he's probably a language master a little bit once he gets good at it. And I also think that.
Fluent French?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. I know this because A, he spoke French before I think Weem spoke French to him, but also B, his English is in a French accent. Mm-hmm. Like it's a little bit Arabic, but when you actually hear his accent, it's a French, it's a weird, it's like, maybe because I'm a hyper, I guess, but it sounds to me, and so I would love people's comments on this. Do you hear the French in Zied's English to you?
Well, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that he would know more French than English because of Tunisia being like some of the words that they say are French. So I can only imagine that the French were there, colonized it at some point. So yeah, but I didn't know that he spoke fluent French. I thought he might have spoken like kind of the way I can speak Spanish,
Oh, no. Yeah, just I could tell by your Spanish accent and by his French accent that he speaks fluent French. I mean, it's
he
sounds like a cartoon skunk. Yeah, I mean, it's like to me, it's like I really I don't know. I just like Zied. Zied is like into this. I just like Zied's like 180 on whatever this season and how he ends this tell-all, or this at least the part one of the tell-all is just such a textbook like happiness for me, like just of like someone really coming into their own. Did anyone feel that Sean was being biased? I just wanted to know, Jerry, like, what'd you mean against who? Like, so was it about the men, or like bias about to who and for what? It looks like Wah to me is frozen. Oh, but she's not. She like blinked for like 9 years. So the Gwen makes it somewhat better for the Yara thing, and I do feel bad for Yara, and there is this like weird like competition between like who's in a better situation between Yara and Julia. Let's talk about Brandon and Julia now. So in Brandon and Julia's segment, we learn one thing, which is that people are coming to town. Like, one thing that Jovi goes for Brandon is like, well, it's crazy that you guys would live with your parents, right? Like, for you to be adults and for you to like think about bringing someone over, like that's a crazy thing. And Brandon says that, oh, no. He would have moved out and had a place, but it was Julia who didn't want to, or specifically wasn't into the place that he could afford at that time.
Yeah. So she ends up saying, my mistake. This was my mistake. And he says that, he told her that they would have to penny pinch and this was the apartment. And she's like, I don't like that apartment. So they just moved in with his parents. And then everybody chimed in and was saying, yeah, you guys should have moved out and just did the penny pinching so you could really see how much things cost. It would really force you to go get your work permit. It would really, put a fire underneath your butt to get you to where you need to be. And Julia was just, saying that living at Betty's house was hard because she doesn't own anything and there's so many rules and she's the boss, but she's not the boss. And now that she's a wife, she is expected to be a wife, not a friend. And they have a conversation about feeding the animals, and Yara ends up saying, yeah, I could never do that. I could never pick up animal shit. And they bleeped it out, and, that she should be getting paid for that. And so then the parents were like, well, if you want to get paid for that, then you need to pay rent. And so, Brandon was saying, I don't mind cleaning up after the animals because I don't pay rent. And so then my it's like, what? I mean, I get that they would want them to pay rent, but if you pay her and then expect her to pay rent, what's the point of paying her? Like, it was weird because I was like, this, I guess the answer is that Julia just goes and does and, takes care of the animals while he works. I don't know.
Yeah,
it just feels to me that Ron and Betty are being penny pinchers, or are like trying to make the kids like work harder or work hard when they don't necessarily need to. And I'm not saying that they need to give Brandon and Julia everything, but having them live at your house, is that really that taxing on you? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the answer is no. The answer is obviously Betty wants so badly for him to be at the house and for the rest of their lives, like
So then pay her for cleaning up animal shit. Like, I just don't understand. If you have the money, right? Like, what is the point in like withholding the money so that they can do it on their own? Like, I don't get that. I don't understand that idea. Because, I mean, it's not like she agreed that she was going to work on the farm. This isn't 1850 where a bitch knows if she goes and marries a man whose parents own a farm that she's going to have to then work on that farm. Like, if I were to be in love with somebody and I were to move to like Croatia and have to live with their parents on a sheep farm, like, the only reason why I would possibly know I needed to help with the sheep was because of this show. I'm like, you've been working with these sheep by yourself the whole time. What you need me to help you for? It's not my no. No. You guys are just hosting me for a couple of months. Obviously, you and like, what was his name be? Hamed. You and Hamed have some kind of, understanding about how the place where I'm going to clean up after myself. I can help you on the inside of the house, like help you throw away some of the things you need to throw away in this like junky, pack rat home. But like going out there and helping you tend the sheep, you were doing fine before I got here. So why all of a sudden do I need to help you? That's the way I feel.
Now, I understand your point of view. It's so interesting because the point of view from Rebecca, who sides with, one teammate situation is, again, Yara and Rebecca, who like really come in on Julia because Rebecca has Yara's back. And then, again, there's like this weirdness, and these women are like feeling this. So Rebecca is like, oh, I think that, yeah, you have to like work by yourself because without having the safety net of like parents or the money, like it really like makes you like go and work for things. So, and I also like that mentality in my mind was like, oh yeah, probably also Rebecca, you probably gave your kids nothing. So I'm sure that's a mentality like you hold dear and true to, because that's how you can sleep at night, like when in fact, like Rebecca has to be like, and the fact that I allowed my very young children and I probably treated them like adults or like friends of mine, made them have to see my struggles and my problems and probably helped them in their life. And it's like, no, they don't have like a probably secureness in their life because they didn't have a stable parent figure. But whatever, God bless. I think there's a balance to all of this. And I will say this, like a lot of people on the platform, I guess, were like, yeah, but you live in their home. So if their rules are, and they can make up whatever they want, right? Because you're not forced to live there. But if you choose to live in their home, their rules are, this work has to get done on the farm. And this is where Brandon's like, yes. And so for her to help me out, she did some of the work. But that made it seem like they were forcing her to. She had the choice to do, right? I'm sorry. Well, I want to make sure this is what I'm picking up. Was this right for me? Like, this is what it felt like, them saying, Julia was like, well, I chose to do some of the work so I can spend time with Brandon, right? Is that something that happened?
I think so. But here's I guess I'm still going back to the same argument, and maybe I'm just like a spoiled adult child living with their parents. But like, I'm just like, y'all, I mean, and I pay bills here. It's not like I don't. I want to contribute. The whole reason I'm living here is to contribute, right? Is so that they don't have to pay for everything with their retirement money, right? But my thing is like, my parents are fine. Like, if I were to leave today, they would have to pinch a little bit, go back to pinching a little bit, but they would be fine. They could take care of this house by themselves. And so I just feel like, if Brandon and his parents were taking care of the farm, the three of them, by themselves, why is it that Julia is expected to come in and help? Is it just because she lives there? And if that's the case, then that should have been explicitly explained to her so that she knew when she was saying no to the shitty apartment, then that meant she was shitty cleaning up fucking farm animal shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I need to know both sides of what is going on. Also, yes. Also, I think this whole thing with Rebecca, yeah, I would listen. I know that family structures are different wherever you are in the world, and I'm not judging your parents, and I'm not judging you. I'm just saying that for me, for my parents to not be stable and a safe haven, and that would suck. So I'm like, it sucked. Yeah. Anyways, that's it. I don't want to dig myself any deeper.
No.
Those people.
We missed a little super chat. So thank you so much, Scorpio, who's here. And like, Scorpio is on Clubhouse, and she runs I'm so sorry. It's 90 Day Fiance Fans, I think is what it's called.
I'll find it.
Sorry. It's a Clubhouse on, it's a Clubhouse on Clubhouse. Yeah, it's a group on Clubhouse that we talk about 90 Day Fiance, and we always talk an hour before the New York feed. And she also is like one of a really good deep diver researcher. I mean, on the cast controversies. So much so that like I would love you to come on and talk about cast controversies on this. Like, wouldn't you love to have Scorpio like pop up in
Yeah, I
here and
would.
just like even
It's
like
90 concert fans. That's the room on Clubhouse. So you guys, Clubhouse has come to Android. So for those of you who have an Android, you can download Clubhouse, and I think someone just needs to ask you or something, or send it to you or something. But yeah, Scorpio's in the his house.
Yeah. But let's go on. So with this Julia or this Yulia Brandon situation, I think that yeah, Yulia just comes in really hot with the opinions and being really, really young. They do talk about with so they bring Betty and Ron on. Betty and Ron like have their moment in the sun, honey. And oh, I forgot to also talk about in the Yara Jovi segment, they also showed besides the like stripper gate, they also showed Yara like the 90-day Barazol lie detector results where he got put up to a lie detector like on the app or whatever, and Sean Robinson's like, have you ever had sex with a stripper? And he's like, no, and like of course that was like a big fat false. What?
We know that's a lie.
I know. I know. God bless.
Peed in his bed.
Yeah. So she like it was hard for Yara to watch all of that. It sucked, you know, like truly. But in this situation, Betty and Ron come on and we get to have like Betty and Ron time, and they're just like so happy to have like any screen time or whatever. And I do think that Yulia and Betty for some reason like each other, you know, like maybe in the way that Yara and Gwen do, but maybe in the way in which the mothers are just like, we're just so happy that our sons are with women.
Oh yeah, because they're both mothers that have a son who they never thought would settle down, and then they did settle down with somebody, and it's just like a single son type situation. Yeah, I guess they would have that in common. I am happy that they get along, because it would be really hard if what's her face Julia had to live in that house where Betty didn't like her or she didn't like Betty, because it feels to me like if someone didn't like Betty, Ron would have a whole hell of a lot to say about it. And his energy, Ron is the type of man who yells at women. I feel like he would tell Julia something, or he would say something to Brandon loud enough for Julia to hear and to make it real awkward. So I'm glad that they're okay. I did like the fact that, you know, Betty touched on some of the issues that the fans have made about their relationship. And I love the fact that Sean, with those little devil ears, as you say, was like, Betty, it seems manipulative what you did. And she's like, well, I mean, any woman, mother would do this. And, you know, those are real tears. I wasn't trying to be manipulative. And Sean's like, nah, but it definitely was manipulative of you to do that. Because do you want them to live there? And so, you know, just having the idea of like, you know, wanting a daughter-in-law, didn't want to lose a son, like X, Y, and Z. So I thought that their segment was really interesting as far as that go. But the best part of it is when they start to talk about when Sean does, who has had a little nippy tucky, and Rebecca's so happy to say all the things that she's gotten done. And she did the forehead, she did she didn't do this part, but she did her lip, and she got like the excess skin from her stomach sucked in or something. She got like not liposuction, but she got a tummy.
She might have done this, because why do I feel like she did do that? We read that somewhere or something, or was that an Instagram? Because I remember
she did it. She didn't do it enough. There's more to be done.
Oh, that's why you're saying that. I think when she said the smart lipo, you know, like I didn't know if. Well, Kybella is a word that means whatever that is, but you know, when she said the smart lipo, I was like, oh, maybe that was a chin contouring or whatever.
I have no idea. Well, maybe she did it and they just didn't do too much. But then she had her tummy tuck, and so she stood up to show everybody how much thinner she actually is, and she says that she's going to actually get smaller over time. And then Julia's over there like,
just go to gym club.
Just go to gym club and work out. And so then Yara's like, if anybody wants to get anything done, they should be allowed to do so. I got my nose done because I had potato nose and I couldn't look at myself in the mirror. And I got my lips done too, but I stopped. And then what's her face is like,
Natalie?
Natalie's like, I got my lips done, but they did it too big. And I'm like, Natalie, that's not all you got done, girl. You lying, liar. And so then Julia's like, well, I don't think if you're young, you should do that to yourself. And then Yara's like, don't be judgmental. And then so they go back and forth about that. And finally Yara's like, yes, you're saying your opinion, but your opinion is judgmental. Stop. Like, and then Zied talked about him getting facial stuff done and the fact that he likes Rebecca because she looks younger and sexy.
That was messy.
Yeah. But I think it was just because he was like, yeah, why wouldn't anybody like that to get done? She loves those filters so much, and that's the person that she told me she was. So if she wants to get augmented to the filter, then like, why not? Whatever. So I'm just like, listen, if Zied loves it, if Zied likes it, I love it. Okay. It doesn't even matter.
Okay. So I want to you said so many great things. Okay. You really, Teresa, how can Rebecca afford all that surgery? Because she posted about it and she tagged the doctor's office. So she got either an A discount or B, like for free, like one of the two. It's the same thing as just how much free chicken she probably got while she worked at Joella's. By the way, what?
Or she financed it.
By the way, where's the update on Joella's? Really, we need to know, like, how's the chicken? Is she still working there? Okay, so now here's the thing. This is why there's no way that Julia doesn't know that Yara had a lot of work done. Because I know that, and I'm not on the show. Well, do you think, because I feel like maybe the way you looked at me, do you think that Julia knows that Yara had a lot of work done?
No, because I don't know.
What do you mean in the pictures?
Yeah, but like only because those pictures were revealed. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that I like could tell prior to, and I don't know what Julia has seen. What I do know is that Julia's facial features are cute now, but if she's not considering getting anything done, by the time she gets into her mid-30s, it's going to be a different story. So she's being judgy now because she's young and she doesn't find that she needs to do anything to her face, which is fine. But like, I just think it's interesting that she had such strong opinions about it. And then we moved to the whole thing about her possibly being a stripper or a dancer. And then it was a lot of like stripper talk that was negative. And I was like, oh, I don't like when they talk negatively about sex workers. And then I think it was Yara who was like, there's nothing wrong with being a stripper either. So I was like, yes, thank you, Yara, for being the one to be like, there's nothing wrong with that if you want, with being a stripper. But that's not what I do. Or, everyone's like, we don't want people to think that she's a stripper. And I was like, well, what's wrong with people thinking she's a stripper? Like they make a lot of money and it's like acrobatic and shit. Like it's hard work. And then Jovi piped up and was like, it's hard work. That's why I was so surprised when you said that there was a whole segment about that, because as soon as they were talking about strippers, Yara was like, Jovi knows about how hard the strippers work. And he was like,
Yara does have a sense of humor, like Yara has been trying to be on reality television for a long time. She's been on a lot of shows,
She has?
Yes, that's what I was like. I think that was in the Discord. I think Scorpio found that, or like, I think, yes, I read that recently. And I mean, for anyone who doesn't know what Yara looked like before, she looked, and I said this before, this is the best example, and I really have to make a side by side, is that Yara looked like 90s Paris Hilton, early aughts Paris Hilton, or Simple Life Paris Hilton mixed with Nicole Richie. The same, like if you just like had his love child, like the skinny eyebrows. Like, I mean, I don't know what Yara did, but it looks like a whole bunch of things where her eyes look different. Like it looks, I mean, but you can do weird things with Botox, but you also can like do lifts and things like that. And yeah, there's like this thing where, Julia was a dancer, a go-go dancer. So there's this moment where Betty and Brandon's like, yeah, we didn't quite know like what she was doing, and like, cause they're super Christian and they would have like judgment on strippers or whatever. And,
they're
Betty
super Christian?
Yeah, they're in that doomsday. Okay. Sorry. They're religious. They're in a doomsday Christian cult or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know it had anything to do with religion. I thought they were just doomsday people.
What the whole, we can't sleep in the same room and all, but in the same house and unmarried.
I didn't get. I didn't glean that from it.
Okay.
I mean, Julia. Here's the deal. Like, I understand in essence what a go-go dancer is, but it's such a like time frame removed. Like, to me, go-go dancers exists in a plane where people go to like clubs where people are dancing in cages, right? Which is a different plane of existence than me. I think I've maybe been to one club where people are dancing in cages, but like that music that is usually playing at those clubs aren't me. Also, it seems like a very 60s and 70s and 80s type thing that I just am not like. So when someone says go-go dancer, I have to like think about what a go-go dancer is and like think about where they are and what that is. So I understand the confusion with that. And she talks about go-go dancing in like high quality, like exclusive like clubs and bars and stuff. And I was like, that is a job in Russia, to where like it's like she's a professional dancer. And I was like, well, in the States, a professional dancer usually has gone to Juilliard or some school, Debbie Allen, somebody's school, and like travels in a show. They don't necessarily go-go dance. They might, but it's not necessarily hand in hand. So it's just really interesting because I'm like, what style do you dance in? Contemporary?
Well, in Vegas clubs, there's go-go dancing.
It's a very specific place, right? Like,
yeah, totally. So, but I'd be like, and so there in America, I don't know in all this, the place in America, but it feels like, Vegas, Miami, some of these bigger clubs, like or warehouse, I don't know, New York, I'm sure like warehouse under clubs. Yes, you'll see like a hot ass girl, like on some sort of level above you, like maybe she's in a cage, maybe she's not, honey. And she is just, like just moving. And then like every 15 minutes she'll get off, a new girl will come on, honey, like, yeah. That's what it is, so, and maybe that's how it is in Moscow, where I think Julia was, so I think that it's really interesting because for me to have Brandon, I think the shocker, be like, I didn't know. And that would have been a thing. I'm glad it was just go-go dancing. Wasn't quite sure. Because Brandon is like definitely a product of Betty, who's looks just like Papa, I guess, Okay, so I do have two things I'm going to show as video that I have queued up, but and we still have to talk about what's going to happen next week. Okay, so before that, do you have anything to say about the tell-all part one in the linear form that we've done?
No.
Oh, can we talk about Amira and Andrew really quickly? So basically, this is like so dumb. This is how we end it or whatever. So sorry. So after this, and after Rebecca and Zied, and one part about the Rebecca and Zied come on, we're really happy about that. We talk about Rebecca's surgery, and Rebecca's daughter comes on.
Yeah,
what? Rebecca's daughter comes on.
Yeah, and we talk about the friend who offered to help move, and Rebecca's insistence that her friend was being disrespectful, and that if she wasn't being disrespectful, why'd she come up and apologize? And I was like, Rebecca, girl, come on, stop beating this dead horse. Like, you was wrong.
Like, no, Mom, that's just her face. No, Mom, she's not flirting with him. That's just her face. She has like a slutty, flirty face, Mom. That's just how her face sits, Mom. It's a slutty, flirty face, Mom. Like, and I love the idea of like, because like I like the idea of like, always make fun of me, like when I would be like somewhat drunk at a bar or whatever, and I would make this face, whatever. It is kind of like me trying to look sexy and like also me trying to look not drunk or whatever. So it ends up being something like this.
She wasn't drunk, you guys. She wasn't drunk, you guys. This is Chris posing. No, that's not it. This is what it is.
Okay. Yes. That's what okay. So this is what I'm doing when this is me. This is what I want to look good. Yes. I also, I want to look good. And I think that I might be a little drunk. So I'm then trying to.
What'd you say, Wah?
So rude. He's very
No,
rude.
you guys, she's not drunk at all. This bitch is just sitting at the bar posing on the off chance that somebody looks at her, and she is just perfectly like. And then she'll drink like.
Look at those lips. Look at those eyes.
Yeah, it is so ridiculous. And she's not drunk. She's not.
No, she's okay. Well, sometimes I'm drunk, sometimes I'm not. So there's different looks I have for different feelings. So, but in this situation, Rebecca is like holding on fast to this moment. How this girl in Rebecca's mind was like this. Zied, you need help moving? My daddy has a big truck, and then I'll drive the big truck to your house, and then we'll like move, but we'll really fuck all over the place. And you can take pictures of my pee with the ring light, and then we'll just like keep boning, and we'll move all the shit. Like that's what Rebecca like thinks that woman did. So Tiffany is so embarrassed by this, and it's like, that's my good friend, Mom. Like, no, she literally was just like trying to help you, but you are so insecure because like you're dating someone who's too young for you, then you keep having plastic surgery to forget about that and use all the filters and the ring light to pretend you didn't have any sort of like, problems with the way you look and in relationship to someone that's too young, too hot to date you. Anyway, Mom, because of that, you feel weird, and so let me just tell you that girl wasn't flirting with him.
She was just being nice. It was just Southern hospitality. And Rebecca's like, no. She was trying to flirt with Zied. She interjected herself in the conversation for like 30 minutes. And I was like, Rebecca, you guys were on camera.
Yeah,
you guys were on a show, and Hannah was mic'd.
Yeah.
And so she's trying to
be on the show. Be on this really popular #1 show. Can you imagine Hannah? Like, I feel bad. Can you imagine Hannah being like, I get to be on 90? There's nothing happening where they live. I mean, come on. I mean, there is stuff happening, but like, this is a big ass deal. But whatever. It's a huge show. Like, Hannah's so excited to film. You know what I'm saying? And she looked all cute. She's like so excited to like show off. Like,
and then the family has trucks. Like, yeah, I definitely can help out. And Zied is like, well, I thought maybe her father or somebody would help. And, but I could tell Rebecca got angry. Oh yeah. Talk about the hot tub.
Oh yeah. So, oh my God. So this is a banana situation. So when they went to that like place to get married, which is they shouldn't have been anyway, because they shouldn't have gotten married at this time. But obviously Rebecca got some deal there. But like, let's move on. The night before, they were staying at their like romantic cabin, which is scary. And all these people like come from these foreign lands, and it's scary. There's out in the woods with no lights. It's scary anyway. It was scary for Natalie, honey. It's scary for Zied. So he's like,
he's watching a scary movie. He's watching a scary movie.
Rebecca comes out like, hi, and he's like, oh, Rebecca, so sorry, it is very scary here, right? And Rebecca like is just pissed that he's not like, oh, Rebecca, let's make love in the moonlight. Okay? So then Rebecca doesn't say anything to him, Haram doesn't say shit to him, and then just like a ghost walks off and then just sits in a hot tub naked, and Zied's like, I go inside, I scared, Okay.
This is what I understood it to be. I understood that Zied is watching a scary movie, and it's like horror, whatever, and he's into this movie. Rebecca comes out from the room and is like, hey, do you want to go to the hot tub? And he's like, this place could be in scary movie. And then she looks at him, doesn't say anything because she doesn't know that he's joking or doesn't understand that it hasn't transported himself out of the movie to really paying attention to what she's asking of him. So they stare at each other awkwardly. And then she gets a mean face on, and then goes into the hot tub, which I'm assuming is inside the cabin. Maybe it's not. But for wherever it is, he can see her sitting in the hot tub with a stank face. So he's like, no, I'm not going over there. But he's mad at her at the same time. So he's like making her feel, he understands that something's going on, but he's like, well, no, I'm not dealing with this. So he's mad at her. She's sitting up there in the hot tub. And then she gets mad at him because she's sitting in the hot tub naked, and he doesn't go into the hot tub to be with her. And Jovi's like, you wanted just to piss her off, right? And he's like, yeah, I wanted to piss her off. And I'm just like, girl, why? What? it's like she feels like Zied is ruining every fantasy for this wedding that she has ever had. He doesn't care about the ring. He doesn't care about what he wears. He doesn't care about the venue. He doesn't care about anything. And then to top it all off, he doesn't care that she's naked in a hot tub.
Yeah, because like she wants him to be like, oh, Rebecca, my beautiful young wife, Rebecca, naked in a hot tub, her luscious breasts just dripping off the water. I can't wait to see it, whatever. And like, he's just kind of like,
been there, done that.
And so listen, we are all sort of, Sean always wants to ask Zied, hey, are you attracted to Rebecca? Like, and so he asks him that question in all the ways that you can. Like, are you attracted to her? Did you want her to get surgery so you'd be more attracted to her? Are you attracted to her now that she's had surgery because she looks younger? Like, and so they're trying to like catch him, and he, thankfully for him on his side, has like the language barrier to be like, oh, I meant this, or no, she looks better younger. Yes, but also good now. And if she didn't do anything, I'd still be, like he's constantly in this like trick of like saying he's not attracted to her or wants to have kids or acknowledges the age difference or whatever. And it's a quicksandy type situation for him. And I feel bad for him, but it is great to hear, I think, that Tiffany and Tiffany's dude like think Zied loves their mom, because I truly, if we were to give my opinion, I think that Zied loves Rebecca too. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but I don't think that he doesn't love her. I think that he loves her. Like, I think, for whatever reason. I mean, I hate to say whatever reason. It's like, I think we don't get to see some parts of Rebecca that are like cool. Like the parts of Rebecca that are tatted, and the parts of Rebecca that have like pierced nipples, which by the way, she has pierced nipples, which by the way, I've seen, which by the way, Sorpy, are you still here? Which by the way, there's an OnlyFans picture of her pushing her nipples together, both pierced, they're pierced nipples is what I'm saying. And so there are parts of Rebecca we don't see. And I'm not saying I don't want to see all of it, but I'm saying I think there might be like a more secure or cool, confident, kind of like badass part of Rebecca that I think that Zied likes, that we don't get to see that much because she's so insecure all the time. And like, I don't want that for her. And maybe some of the plastic surgery will help her, but I want her to be like more confident so we can see this, like, she rides a bike, right? Like, that's the kind of person that it feels like she maybe is. Like, those nipples are pierced. And Zied loves them, push them up. So, so Tiffany and whatever was like, we made Zied go through many tests and he passed. And so we're really happy about that. And then it moves on to this last Andrew and Amira segment. Can you believe that we've been talking about this for so long? But this Andrew Amira segment is set up with this. Amira being like, cut to Wah. What does Amira want?
So this is what it is. I did my lipstick the way that Amira does. I should have done it darker, but I overlined it just for this part. I'd only be here if I don't have to talk to Andrew or see Andrew. I don't want to ever be in a position where Andrew is controlling me. I don't want him to control me.
Ever again. So crazy.
Ever again. Yes. So we have this whole situation where she's getting ready, girl, and she has overlined her lips and put on a lot of lip gloss. She is ready for her 90-day Fiance Tell-All debut. And Andrew's there, and he is dressed, he has really long hair, and he's wearing a vest and a button-up shirt. And we're like, why?
Straightened hair, honey. His hair is so stick straight, like he ironed it. It is sleek.
It is like down here too. So this has been like 6 months, right? For your hair to grow from like here to here is, I don't know how straight hair grows, but that's a long time, right, Chris?
Yeah.
So
it's been a long time since,
Yeah, it's been I think 6-7 months, right? I think they must have broken up in like April or May, and then the tell-all was filmed in January. So it was really, when he finds out that he's gonna have to leave the stage so that Amira can tell her side of it, he gets upset because he feels like he came here for the tell-all and he should be allowed to speak to her or rebuttal, I guess, or something. And so, and it's not fair. And they're like, we can't force her to sit and hear your voice and deal with you. She does not want to talk to you. And so we're being respectful to her. And he's like, well, then you're not being respectful to me because I want to sit here and hear her voice and talk to her. And it's like, Andrew, what are you saying? Like, what? You're just mad because you don't get to gaslight her in front of everybody, because you could just earnestly tell your side of the story. She does not need to be there when you say what happened.
I also didn't want to this, like, why don't you just go behind the thing or off stage? You're still going to have earphones and you're going to be able to watch and hear all of what she says. She's going to be on for whatever 15 minutes or whatever it was, saying whatever, and then she goes off. She doesn't want to see you. Then you get to be there in live, having heard and seen, and then because like to me, you still get the power, if you will, the better position to rebut everything in person live after hearing it. She doesn't. Then she's not going to sit there and listen to you and then do it again. She's gone, honey. She doesn't want to see your fucking face. So that's another like whole red flag where I'm like, yeah, you literally just want to sit there so that you can try and manipulate her in the moment or make her feel bad or like stop her from talking. And she knows it. And like, she knows it so much that she had to set these parameters and these boundaries with the producers, you know, like, I'm like, it's really, really, really scary for me. Like, I hate watching it. Like, it was, and the fact that from that moment, like, some people are going to be on his side, and then we know this David Andrew drama happens later on where people like, I hate Andrew, and like to watch him do this is like furthermore nails in the coffin of like any sort of like self-respect I have for you. I hate him. I mean, he's gross.
He ends up just going home. We don't know if he actually like goes back to the hotel, but he gets his backpack on.
Can I get a ride back to the hotel? Can someone take this mic off me? And can I get a ride back to the hotel?
Can you explain to me a little bit, Chris, why you're scared? You said you were scared. So explain that to me. The double blink after I said that. Okay. You don't remember saying that. But you were like, I'm really scared for him to speak or whatever. And I was like, why are you scared? But anyways, yeah, I just think that Andrew is a gaslighter and it's there to protect her, and she put her boundaries up. And I love the fact that production was honoring that. And yeah, Andrew just ends up walking away looking petulant for no reason. If he's like, no, I should be able to sit here. Don't put the camera on me then, but I should be able to sit here and listen to her, like, or whatever. And I'm like, listen, no, you should not. Why? No. So that's what we're going to see next episode. And then Stephanie did her own tell-all.
Yeah. So yeah, I completely agree with Wah. I have stuff to show you. Don't worry. But yeah, Andrew, it's like, you're not the producer. You don't set anything. What do you mean? Like, I should? No, you shouldn't. You're just like, you're a person on the show. Like you are, and you might not be on the show again. Like this is a big ass show that's happened for years. Like, what do you think that you're going to tell producers how they should do their things? And absolutely not. And the craziness of like you thinking that like you deserve to be sitting on the stage as opposed to, again, not what I just said, is like be hearing everything, just like not on the stage or on the pulpit, is just like you really thinking that you are grand. When like Andrew, if you're never on the show again, this is your last moment on television, is this tell-all. Just so you know. Besides this, you have TV blends, which I'm obsessed with talking about, I guess. Okay, so we'll have the part 2. So, as we know, Stephanie was not on this tell-all. And they pretty much, Sean says, like, you know, Stephanie will not be on this tell-all, nor Harris, nor Ryan, but we wish them all the best. Like, doesn't say anything, you know, like, not here, wish them the best. moving it on. Now, what we know is that Stephanie had alleged certain things throughout her time in Belize when she was there.
Belize, hi.
I know. There's our girl. Our Belize Miss Belize herself. So, hi. Most notably that she was sexually assaulted by Ryan, that he had stealthed her, right, with the condom fiasco that we know about, that they actually showed or aired, not showed, but aired, the drama knowing about that happening, as well as
Look at Chantel.
allegations.
Just look at Chantel. Doesn't she look she got work done?
Yeah, but she's been having them boobs. She already got work done on her face. She knew what she was doing. Like, her mom made her get work done the minute that she was on the show to make sure that she was gonna like have a spinoff. Oh yeah. But she already had the boobs done. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is, oh no, what was I talking about?
You're gonna play the video.
Okay, but Stephanie's saying that she got bit by a bunch of sand fleas, and that alone was this huge problem with production. The production didn't take her seriously when she was talking about how painful they was, or they wouldn't stop, and they made her keep shooting, and they didn't like, but there was like all this other stuff. And so what Stephanie did is Stephanie then on her Instagram has been like trying to right the wrong of what she feels like is the character assassination that TLC perpetrated on her this season or whatever. And she's not gonna be on the tell-all, so she like released her own like tell-all footage of her sitting on the couch where she just invites various people into her life to talk about this. Now, I'm not quite sure. We talked about this in the very beginning, but I don't think it was aired. watched. Okay, so Stephanie uploads this stuff, these videos to Instagram. Wah sent me this. There's like, 10 slides of almost a minute each. I wasn't able to record all of it for you because I can't sit here and watch like 7 minutes of footage with you, but Wah watched it all so we can hear all the things she said. The last video I have for you, which we'll see how that works out because I just thought it'd be a fun thing, which is that I screen grab some of the top Twitter comments so we can laugh our faces off about them. Okay, so I bring to you Stephanie's Instagram for Stephanie's Sofa Talks.
Something called Sofa Talk with Stephanie. So we're going to be answering some questions tonight. We're starting off with a very dear friend of mine, Frank. He has been my personal trainer for 13 years, and I just want him to talk a little bit about what he has seen on the show and what he knows about me personally. Frank?
So one of the things, when I have watched the show, one of the things that, you had mentioned is the inaccurate portrayals of yourself. And, I just wanted to say that I've known Stephanie for 13 years now that we've worked together. I have never seen her on any kind of drug. I've never seen her drunk. That just, is not her, and it's not something that would function in our working relationship if she was.
Hi there.
On drugs or drunk. So I think these
you'll see
inaccurate portrayals are just very unfair.
The other thing that when we were discussing this, Frank, that I thought you were very accurate when you said, Stephanie, if you supposedly are taking drugs and alcohol and you haven't even had a speeding ticket in 20 years, you're the luckiest woman alive.
When we were talking to the other day, if things were accurate the way the portrayal is, you would have to be the luckiest person on the planet. In other words, not alone, how are you supposed to be a successful businesswoman if this is what your mode of operation is? It would be impossible. Had a drastic impact on you health-wise. So you take in effect the exhaustion from the long hours, plus having to endure being bitten by the bugs over and over and over again, and then the after effects of that, and having to seek medical treatment from it. These are like the worst possible conditions to be working under, and still did pretty damn good in my opinion, so.
I appreciate that. And again, that went on for 3 months after I returned from Belize. I had to seek medical attention, going to be hooked to IVs for hours at a time, because even when you would, we'd start to work out, and I'm like, Frank, I feel like I'm 90. I am so stiff. And you said, Stephanie, you are so full of inflammation. And it even affected my vocal cords where I sounded like I was smoking cigarettes. And Dr. Bosch said it had a are totally inflamed, not only your entire body from what has happened to you in Belize, but even your vocal cords.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it was the exact same night I was sexually assaulted by Ryan. That was 48 hours after I got there, and I decided to be a trooper and play it out. I played it out, and they decided to do a character assassination on me. And
Heck, I think you need some kind of award for making it through all of that. You know?
I do too.
That's pretty amazing.
I do too. So listen, you know, I know you're super busy. I know you've got another doctor that you're meeting with to train here now that you're leaving.
Yes.
But you know what, Frank, again, you've always been a great friend. You're a very Christian man. You would never lie for me, nor would you ever lie for anyone. And I appreciate you taking the time to come and clarify what you know about my medical background, because you are totally inflamed, not only your entire body from what has happened
It'll
to
go
your
on.
bodies, but even your vocal cords.
Yeah.
And not to mention, it was the exact same night I was sexually assaulted by Ryan. Cleared up the hell I endured from the possibility of getting leishmaniasis, and my organs could have possibly shut down. People do die from leishmaniasis. Thank God Dr. Bosch caught everything in time. And thank you for clarifying that of all of the hours that you and I spend together, you've never even seen me drunk or tipsy or pop a pill of any kind. And for that, I thank you.
Well, it's my pleasure to do it. You're a wonderful person, and I hate to see your character assassinated in any way. So it's my pleasure.
Thank you, Frank.
You bet.
So I'm basically here to tell you that it ended up being the exact opposite. So much of it was contrived. And one of the very first things I want to tell you is during production, Ryan and I did break up. Agrees that you work very closely with my medical doctor.
Yes.
So you've cleared up that.
Okay, so I mean, this goes on and on and on and on. So it's like half of me wants to play the whole thing and just like have us sit here.
Don't worry, I'll tell you what else happened. So
Okay.
basically, this good Christian man who is her personal trainer, who she's paid for the last 13 years to help train her, knows her character and is there to be a character witness for how she couldn't possibly be a pill popper or wine drinker because she's never even gotten a speeding ticket. And the fact is that she was deathly ill with summertime moniasis when she got back, and all of her organs could have fallen out of her body, and she could have died based on this. But she wanted to be a trooper, and she wanted to push through and do what she had to do. Her and Ryan actually broke up during the middle of this, but they still continued on with their segments.
Okay, wait. This is what I want to ask you. When did she say that she, like, is it because she said that she had broken up with Ryan before she went to Belize? Like, is that what she's saying?
She said she broke up with Ryan. I believe what I understood was in Belize.
When we saw it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know if it was beforehand. So she ends up saying that, so maybe you could be right. She ends up saying that, you know, Ryan asked her for more money to be on the show because he didn't understand why she was having him on the show. And that, so he wanted money from her in order to be on the show. So we did get some information from somebody from the Clubhouse group who stated that she did actually get bit the hell up to the point where the medic that is with the show stopped production and had her rest for a full day, but didn't also give her an extra day to like have fun in Belize. So the whole time she was in Belize, she was filming and she was just pushing through these, you know, long days and trying to do stuff. So the latter clips where she talks to other people, which being her niece, who was one of the people who was in the room when she was talking about her business, and also her medical assistant Pam was there. So basically all they did was tell us what we know production does, which is that they try to manipulate you into saying things that make really good sound bites. So she says, Stephanie ends up saying that she talked about dating men older, talked about dating men her age, talked about dating men younger. But they asked her to say, oh, so you're a proud cougar. And she's like, yes, I'm a proud cougar. And that's what they kept in. And so she's saying that she was misrepresented because they didn't put everything that she had said from that statement. And that, you know, Ryan, her cousin, ended up saying that, you know, they would say things like, oh, aren't you so mad about Ryan? Aren't you angry? Well, tell me how angry you are at Ryan, to try to get them to say more inflammatory things about Ryan and about the fact that Stephanie was spending all this money. And so when Stephanie then inquired about, like, why was she doing all these long days of filming if she wasn't going to get paid, that the producer ended up telling her, well, we're giving you fame, like you're going to be famous. And she's like, I don't want to be famous. I just want my business to grow. And she says that the only reason she was on the show was because she wanted her business to grow. And it did grow, that her business has tripled. And so she got that, but that she felt like she was just grossly misrepresented in this process. And I was like, you know what? There is nothing that I think editing did to make her look bad. She's the one who said the things that she said about paying for his family to keep a roof over their head and to pay for the lights and she even says it in her tell-all version that she's paid thousands of dollars for Ryan. She never touched, though, on Harris. So we don't know what ended up happening with her and Harris. But she just kind of felt like she was character assassinated. And I was like, girl, no, you weren't. Like, you making that comment about cougars didn't change my mind about you at all. You being on wine and Xanax did. Like, I don't care what this person says about you. Like, we saw you on TV be like, Ryan and I, we went to the beach. Like, we saw that. They didn't, what did they do? Slow down the film?
What did they, yeah.
So, I mean, it was interesting. Pigtails again. She knows she has no shoes on. She's sitting there on like a pillow and a white sofa. And they, you know, the stuff that they said about the producers is not revealing at all. Like, we know that producers kind of force things to happen, and you kind of have to just roll with the punches. And a lot of people do it. You can take it like David and Anna. You can take it like Rebecca. You can take it like Yara. Like, everybody else manages to walk out of this like relatively okay, you know? And I think Stephanie could have come back or could have had a single life if she wasn't so busy being worried. Oh, and she had to let us know that she has four people who go through her comments because she doesn't read them. She doesn't care. She hired 4 people to read through her comments and delete all the negative things. And I was like, girl.
Harris has 4 kids. I was going to say, some people are saying, like, where can you find it? I think you can watch it right now. You can, on the TLC app, it'd probably be the only place you could find the tell-all if you didn't get to watch it live or whatever. I think it's the TLC app. Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, okay, so what did her niece say? Like, what was so, like, Pam said that, like, her niece was just saying what with the baby? The baby's like crying the whole time.
Yeah, so the niece ends up saying just the way that the production stops them and makes them say things over and over again and try to get their correct soundbite or, you know, probe them to make sure they're angry. Pam just basically didn't know what to say. And Stephanie kept like feeding her, like, well, say what your experience was. And she was like, they came to the office and then we filmed for a long time. And yeah, I mean, that's not who you are. I've known you for so long. It's just basically trying to, support Stephanie, and you can tell Stephanie was like feeding them things. She was even feeding them the guy lines, like, well, tell them what you said about me being able to drive. That's a proof that I'm not taking Xanax. Tell them what you said about this. Like, obviously I wouldn't be able to lift those weights if I was high all the time. And I'm like, Stephanie, you don't know that drug abusers, especially rich drug abusers, like, are really able to abuse drugs for a long time because people around them are yes people. Like, you didn't, it was so weird.
They have money.
Yeah, you're paying these people. Everybody there except for her niece was a paid person in her life. So it's like, why would they get on there and say otherwise?
Wait, so I have a question. Was there any update about Harris? Was there any update about Maria?
No.
Okay.
It was basically just people vouching for the fact that she wasn't on drugs and that she was misrepresented based on like some of the things that they made her say or, you know, drummed up, and how good of a trooper she was when it came to filming, even though she was under duress, which is interesting because you would think that she would say, I was bitten up so bad that even production stopped and made me rest, but she didn't say that. And I'm like, so then why? Why didn't you say, I was so messed up that production had me rest for a day? And so like just the sexual assault, what do you call it? Stealth?
Well, that's the word that she used, stealthing.
Oh, I've never heard that.
I hadn't heard it. Actually, I may have heard it once before, but I guess it really, I know what it means, and it was this season that cemented it. Yeah. By the way, if you haven't yet, will you like this video? Will you give this video a thumbs up or subscribe to my channel, and or both? And I'll tell you, the both is really the key. And I'll tell you why. Subscribing means that you're like into it. And by into it, it means like you just want more content or more me, or at least a free way of telling YouTube that you're into me and you want somehow money to come my way. It doesn't have to come from you. If it wants to. But if you like this video, also, it shows YouTube that at some point this girl deserves money. And so that's all I ask. If you haven't yet, just give this video a little thumbs up. Just tickle the thumbs up button. Like, give it a little like, and like, it'll be like, and I'll be like, like that whole thing. And also subscribe to me because I really needed subscribers. Because maybe you like came in this room because you're hot on the show or you saw like a Twitter post. But let's get real. In real, I have like not nary 10,000 subscribers. Like I have like basically 3 subscribers. And so like, you're not like in some like hot to trot Addison Rae motherfucking YouTuber live. Like you're in like a poor person's live. Poor in the sense of like YouTube subscribers being the wealth involved. Okay. And so please, sir, can I have some more subscribers? And don't tell people I'm rich, Wah. I don't want to hear it. Now that's Wah. Now Wah is right over there. Wah is my really good friend. I don't want whatever, like I feel like you're gonna like tell me that I'm not.
I wasn't gonna say anything about that.
Okay. But Wah, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
I was gonna say that in the comment section, they're talking about who has an OnlyFans, and I was gonna say Stephanie has an OnlyFans. So does Paul and Karini. So does Larissa, which you already knew. So does like so many of them have OnlyFans, and they are showing the tootie and the Rudy, okay? The cootie and the booty. They're showing all of it. The titty and the bitty, okay? That's what Rebecca's name. That's the name of Rebecca's OnlyFans. Titty and the bitty. Go ahead.
But I really want to go back to the cootie and the booty. They are showing the cootie and the booty. Oh my God. I mean, like, this is like my dream. I mean, like, now that we know how to do the StreamYard thing, it's like if I could get all the horrible pictures of all these people in OnlyFans. I can't do this. It's like somehow illegal, but like would love to try to find a way. Put it into an iMovie so all it does is play and you just see Waz and I in Scorpio's reactions to them. So you're just like, and you could just watch our reactions, but it's like bad because we would be stealing and showing their pictures to mass people unless we did it in some sort of like secret Patreon way or something.
Yeah. I mean, it is a lot. Stephanie shows them titas. She shows them. Also, Jess shows the titas and the boobies, and she got a nice boobies. I
love Jessica's body. Like when I saw Jessica's OnlyFans, I was like, oh, I love that kind of body. Like Colty, like, because remember when Colty and her were first dating, like it was all about how Colty was just like, she can't get enough sex. She's so sexual. And I remember that time just being like, you are so goddamn lucky, Colty. You're going to F it up anyway. Like for some reason, this hot to trot, like one wants to bone you and you look like you. And you have the audacity to bring your mom on this trip, and then all this girl wants to do is bone you. It's like he can't help but cock block himself with his own mom. It's so crazy. But yeah, I would love to just have like a showing where we just like get to watch all those pictures or whatever. Larissa's pictures are very insane. Obviously,
Libby's older sister,
the
oldest one with the 2 mixed children. I mean, her lips are a flapping in the wind, okay? And then the other sister, Becky, titas, and cooties, cooter, out. All of them.
Do you really call a woman's vagina a hooter?
I said cooter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cooter.
Okay. Okay, well, I guess I'll just deal with that. I'm gonna have to swallow that in front of you all, just like
Cooter.
I don't like cooter. God, cooter is such a weird word, and what does it remind me of? It's like it's so funny. I mean, it's specifically it feels like a '90s Southern California kid term.
Oh.
Yeah, I'd love to know the colloquial is to know like where it came from.
I don't like the PUSSY word. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all. Yeah, Paul and Karini have one too, and it is the sweet baby angel that is Karini is not the sweet baby angel that we know. Chris is frozen. Oh, she's back. Like, it's not, guys. It is. I already said this on this, but she's gonna get a strap on and possibly peg him.
Wait, I have a question, just so I know this. We saw a nude of Rebecca. That is from Rebecca's OnlyFans, right? Or is that just
Rebecca has an OnlyFans? I believe that is something from Reddit.
Okay, so that's just something that floats around because these people are famous, and she gave it to like one dude once she was dating before she got on the show, and that person was like, "Hey, this like new to this girl." Okay, because this comment that I put up here, I thought Zied was a very jealous man. How can he approve of this? How can he approve of this? I completely agree. Like, I don't think he would. I also don't think that Rebecca truly would do that to him, for knowing his, you know. Okay, so little fun part. Let's see if this works, Wah. Look at these fun tweets. Can we see it very well? Julia need their own spinoff. Julia's trying to start trouble reunion. Oh, I did this too fast. The truth's about abducted by aliens and told me to call the wedding off. Ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah, you did this way too fast, girl.
Okay, well, you know what? That's me trying and learning things. Also, it's so small. So I think that I would have to like find a way. Okay, well, I know I'll do that differently next time.
Selena says, how do you know what's on someone's OnlyFans without subscribing to it? So what happens is that some brave soul does subscribe, and then they screenshot the pictures and they put them on Reddit. And then it's given to some other person, and then that person is in a Discord that you're in, and then they upload all that to the Discord. And so one day you're minding your own business and you check the Discord, and then all of a sudden you're like, bleh! But then you just keep looking and then you feel bad and you're like, oh my God. So like, I wouldn't ever show it because it's not on my phone and it's not, but I saw it. And Colty has the smallest penis ever in this world.
Like, talk about hula hooping for the Guinness World Records. Like, he should be in the World Records book. Honey, that peenie is tiny. I mean, like, that peenie is tiny that, like, I know that Big Ed's penis has to be at least 4 times the size. Okay? That's how, okay? So yeah, someone down here said Wet Sock. Your Wet Sock is a YouTube account that also like will recap the only day sites of people and kind of tell you like what's happening, but they don't post it or whatever. They don't post the pictures. I just feel like like it's interesting because anyone that knows that like once you take a picture, a naked picture of yourself, like you have to assume that everyone will see it. The principals of every school that your kids are, all your kids' friends, like everyone sees it. Like you can't just like, that's just the way it is. So like, it's just, I guess it's just interesting how many people so readily make that choice, but I also, I think that like, just another also example of like, I don't understand Libby's family because Libby's family, like, really the whole time tried to make it seem like they were dripping in privilege and money. The whole, like, their whole existence just seemed like we're just just so privileged and rich and like eat the finest foods and travel the best places and expect the best, like, and just like have everything going for us. I'm just so surprised that they would need the money, take the money. But Stephanie did too. And Stephanie is someone who I guess is a successful business lady, but she also wanted, like a name for her shop. It was funny because I first read when Stephanie opened her OnlyFans that she deleted it right away, but she must have reopened it again or whatever. And
But
Stephanie's
Stephanie is a grown woman with no kids, no like lineage legacy from her. Like I understand why she would do an OnlyFans. Like it's another form of income. She likes to take sexy pictures of herself. She looks good for her age. Why not? Like, nobody's judging her. Nobody's like, oh, my sister Stephanie. Like her siblings don't know anything about OnlyFans. You know what I'm saying? Like she's fine to have an OnlyFans. It's just interesting that I think that those girls want to be famous. I think that family Libby want their own show. They want to be famous. And like, why wouldn't they? Kim has a sex tape. Paris Hilton has a sex tape. Like a lot of celebrities have a sex tape. So if they have an OnlyFans showing how right and tight their cooters are, like and then the fact that they were like, remember when they sat at the pool, all of them breastfeeding? Like they're very much about being this new mom, this like new, like in their 40s women who aren't afraid to show their bodies and like be whatever. So I think it's all just about that and wanting to have their own show. And if they were the real, housewife sisters of Florida, it would only help their clout and would only make them bigger. So I don't think it's out of line for what I think it is that they're trying to do.
Right. I mean, I guess that this is a good point, Heather. I mean, good morning from Saudi Arabia. I finally caught you both. Let people live their lives. If they are not hurting someone, let them live their lives. Yeah, they're not hurting themselves. They're not hurting anyone. They are living their lives. I think that I guess I'm old fashioned. I'm just shocked that when OnlyFans came out that like, maybe I shouldn't be, I'm not, okay, I don't want to like shame sex workers. So it's not that I'm surprised that so many previously non-sex workers
are jumping into sex work.
Jump at the chance to do sex work. I want, but I think that I maybe have some preconceived notions of maybe some of what sex work is and what and who would do it to what benefit. Like it's not something that just like people that are down on their financial luck do. Like it's there's also a lot of other options. I guess it's a lot of financial control just to have at your disposal, and especially I guess with OnlyFans. I'm talking like devil's advocate, like you, I guess, have the capacity to generate a lot of income with, seemingly not a lot of work, just certain photo shoots, just do a bunch of them at a time, honey, have someone put together some contents and put it up there, and why not? This is funny because we've talked about OnlyFans before, and the one I was like, wow, this is how you do OnlyFans. Like if WoW was to do one. And last time I tried to talk about this, my computer almost died. And guess what, WoW? My computer has a charger. So if WoW was to have an OnlyFans, she could do one for her feet. Because that's a way where you could just listen, make money, really easy content. I mean, just get a pedicure, honey, take off a pedicure, honey. Just get them toesies, moisturize and gleaming in the sun and just take a bunch of pictures, a bunch of different angles and put it up there and just make whatever money,
Yeah, I'm just I'm always talking about, I'm one meeting or one annoying comment away from just doing an OnlyFans. But the truth is that I just have too big of a family that cares too much about what I'm doing to do any kind of sex work. There is no way I would ever be able to do sex work without all of my aunties descending on me and yelling. It's just it wouldn't even be subtle. Wahima! I mean, I would, even thinking about it makes me feel like I'm 8 years old again. Like, I can't. But see, to me, Stephanie is like, she good.
Yeah, Stephanie.
If I look good at 52, I'm taking it all off.
Yeah, it's a hard situation because I don't want to give a double standard, and I want women to have their choice. And I think that, like, for me, and I can just talk about this, for me, it would be hard to balance the fact that, like, someone like Stephanie doesn't have children. She can just do what she wants, but someone like Libby's sisters have children. And so for me, I guess I'm like, it's not that I want to shame her, but in my mind, I'm like, that's just a very public part of you to show the world when you have like two people that need something from you. And what they need is like a stable parental figure. And it's not that you aren't stable when you do sex work. It's that you have given access to yourself, to the world, that opens you up in such a way that creates an instability feeling, I think, if I was the child. Why are you showing that? Oh, Heather, yay, I got a super chat. Push it, Bob.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because I watched something where a woman whose children went to a private school, the principal found her OnlyFans, and the kids got kicked out of the school. So I think the repercussions are, especially if you don't have a conversation with your kids. So, I mean, her kids are like 8 and 11, right? They're about that age. So who knows if she's already had a conversation with them about it. Because that means that, like, eventually they're going to be at school where other kids are going to have phones, and your mommy's cootie might end up on someone's phone, and then everyone's laughing at it. So think that the older sister would just have to do some damage control and explain to her daughters about what's going on, so that if and when that situation happens, the daughters are like, whatever, who has a Louis bag, who's got their college paid for because my mom, did whatever. She would just have to kind of raise her girls in a way that's like, you have autonomy over your own body. You can do whatever you want with your body. This is easy money. This is what I chose to do. I didn't have to do it. I did it because I wanted to. So I do see what you're saying, Chris, but I do think that there is a way, as long as your children aren't negatively impacted by like school or something like that, that's, kind of rips them away from where they are, where they live, or how people interact with them based on your actions. And I'm pretty sure that they wouldn't be affected maybe in their community. Because I don't think they're in an ultra conservative community, because they're not seemingly ultra conservative people.
I want to bring up this point that said, would you feel differently if the father was doing it? And the answer would be no. I guess in my brain of thought, if to like bring up children that feel stable and secure in their surroundings, where there's just people don't have access to everything like that. I don't know, but I think that I think that I really am old school. Truly, I would say that I don't want the father to be doing it either. But I think that I am truly, truly old school, like in this way. And I think that I just am raised the way I was raised or whatever. Like, I could never do an OnlyFans. Like, I have too many cousins. Like, I have too many aunts and uncles too. Like, my dad would never let me. Like, I wouldn't. Like, my mom. Like, I would just. There'd be too. I could not. I'd be dragged away. Like, it's so funny because it's like, Woody's dad is so.
I can't even imagine what your dad would do. Like,
I can imagine what your dad would do.
Like your dad, when your dad talks regular, it's like, Chrissy, it's just like already just like a loud voice. To hear him yell or be so angry with you that he were to like, how would you even, like, it's just you and him. He cannot be mad at you. There's no other refuge. Like, then there's like 4 siblings or whatever. I mean, well, there's, 3. And then like, Uncle Billy, like it just, there's a lot of people that Chris, I mean, listen, I've been to functions and these people aren't even necessarily related to Chris. And they're like, oh, Chrissy, what are you doing now? Like I've been to functions where older people descend upon Chris and then me as by proxy because I'm next to her. And all of a sudden we're like, yes. Oh yes, I saw that. That was great. Okay. Like it's like we all of a sudden have to be on. So Chris is constantly surrounded by people when she goes to functions who are asking her questions about herself and what she's doing. And if anything like this were to ever get out, it would just be hushed and your dad would be so embarrassed that he would have to publicly disinherit you. He would have to literally hold a conference and get up on stage and publicly disown you and go to the church and publicly disown you. There is no way. St. Anne's, is that what it's called? He would have to go to St. Anne's, get up on the podium and publicly just be like, I don't know who this person is. I've disowned her. She's not a part of my family.
Yeah, but here's the thing. The truth, I think we're saying this and it's all true. It's all true. It's like, so it's one thing. It's like, if I needed money so badly that was my only option, thankfully, because what we're talking about, my dad would not let me do the OnlyFans. He would just give me money, right? but also because I'm an only child and everyone equates me with my dad in his mind. You guys don't know my dad unless you do or whatever, but like, and my dad has all his business and we're, as I said, I'm Syrian Lebanese and I was raised like Catholic and Christian. There's like a whole community of people in LA that like know my last name and like equate me with a big family and like not just my dad, but his brothers and my grandma and my cousins or whatever. And it's just like, family's fucking family. I could just never do it. It's like, it's like my whole name, like this is like old fashioned talk. I don't know what to tell you. Like, so I think that I think another thing, like Libby's dad has been like a big central figure of like how much money he gives them and like, like whatever, like the relationship to his dad and like the ones that are in his favor and are not in his favor, which is another reason why I think it's like shocking that Libby's sisters are doing this. 'Cause I'm like, what does the fucking dad think? Like, 'cause my dad would be like, oh, if you do this thing, I will never A, give you money again, or B, whatever I'm giving you, like I don't, cause like some of Libby's people get money from the dad, right? Like that's the whole thing of like how much money he gives each kid and why everyone are mad about the weddings or whatever. I mean, they're a horrible mess of a family. I hate them. I hope they never get a spin-off. Wow. Don't let them ever happen.
Yeah, I know. I won't let it happen. Don't worry, Chris.
Okay, good.
But yeah, like it would be such a huge thing in our families if there anything like that. I mean, like I would just be yelled at. They would all converge here and find me and string me up and talk. I mean, when I got dreads the first time, okay, it was a whole conversation. I was in high school and I was growing my dreads. My uncle talked to me and told me that people wouldn't take me seriously. I had another aunt say something. And these are Caribbean people, right? They've seen dreads. But they were like, everyone's just going to assume you smoke weed. Why you have Rasta? Blah, 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 blah. So like, I can't even imagine what that life would be like. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Universe in which this happens and we were to be these people who were to do these things, we would get in so much at this grown ripe age, we would get in so much trouble.
That's what we do our feet. Our feet are our only way.
Yeah. Oh, just an OnlyFans of us playing footsie.
Yeah. They're tootsies. We call them tootsie footsies.
Yeah.
And then like, here's the thing, like, yeah, maybe, okay. Oh my God. This is what is brilliant about this. I never thought about that.
No, don't tell anybody. Don't tell me. Tell me off camera.
Okay. So anything else, guys? Oh, I surprised Kalani had a friend only. I know. A friend only. I was surprised Kalani had a friend only. I love you. Yeah, no, I was surprised about that too. I didn't understand it was Kalani at first because her jawline seemed a little smaller than usual. But no, that's Kalani.
Then she put friends only again. Maya. Asterisk friends only. No, OnlyFans.
I love that. It's not fans. It's only friends. I only want like my friends. But it's so funny because how on Instagram you have like a close friends list. You can put your story, and it's like, but this story is only for close friends. I was thinking about this where it's like I want more than one list. Like you have a close friends list, but like that's not enough for me. Like I need more different lists because there's like different pictures for everyone. Like I would like to have. This is the closest I'll get to OnlyFans. I would like to have a list that is called like flirty friends or sexy friends or something like that, where I get to post, well, wait for it, cute, sexy pictures of me to people I think would appreciate them. And guess what, Wah? You wouldn't be on the list.
Yeah, thanks. I was like, I don't want that.
You
Because
wouldn't
I'm
be on
going
the list.
to roast you. All I'm going to do is roast you. If I see
You're not going to get it. Don't worry.
It's like,
I took so many sexy pictures recently that no one gets to see.
yeah, I don't want it. I will roast you. I don't have sexy pictures. I have pictures of me looking silly all throughout my phone. Like just the worst pictures of myself because I don't know. Something is like, that's something I admire about you is that you have a fantasy and you will live in that fantasy. And you will set it up. You will set up the fantasy. Me, I'm like, that fantasy is not a reality. The reality is, so I take pictures like that because that is the reality. Where Chris is just like even this pose. She's got a whole fantasy. She's trying to be Aurora, Sleeping Beauty, and I'm like. Listen, I'm the chicken on Robin Hood. Like, I'm just like, I'm Robin Hood when he's pretending to be somebody else on stilts, like, and he's in that tournament. That's who I am.
I think that you also have the capacity to take sexy, beautiful pictures and that you don't live in you. I think that you could, revel in your feminine sensuality more than you do.
I think you're right. I just don't.
I know I'm right.
It's not a reality. So I'm like, then it's not real.
It becomes reality when you make it real.
Mm.
Hey, if you are listening to this right now and you like what I just said, drop a bomb. Drop a bomb in the comments and I'll make sure Wah knows how many bombs she sees because I'm fucking right. You manifest your own feminine, in whatever sexuality, you manifest your own sexuality through your own like expression of it. So in this case, because I'm talking to Juan, I know that she's heterosexual. I'm going to say that. So I think that in this situation, like we manifest our softness, our sexuality. And I think sometimes it can use sometimes you just need to like use sexy pictures as a mirror, especially when you don't get validated as much as you should because of COVID or because men are dumb or because COVID and men are dumb, which is true, so there's bombs going off. Bombs.
It's one, it's two, Teresa and Miriam.
She put 4 though. They're just 4. Can you believe we've been talking for truly it says only 2 hours and 6 minutes, but it's actually been like 2 hours and 40 minutes or 2 hours and 20 minutes, but I just didn't push.
Yeah, it's been 2 hours. It's been 2.5 hours. It is 9. We started at 7. It is 9:20.
7:05, but then really 7:20 because I was dumb. Well, more bombs. You see them bombs, Well?
Yes, I see them. Scattered throughout.
Okay. Anything else we have to? Let's just talk about final thing. Round it back. I should hardly remember what happened. What's going to happen next week, Wah?
Amira and Andrew.
Okay, so Amira and Andrew happened, but we really don't know how that really happens or how that works out. We get to see Mike's best friend that Natalie thought that they boned at the wedding.
Oh, yeah, Sarah.
So we finally see Sarah, who's tatted, looks like he would be like perfectly Mike's type. And not only do we get to hear from Sarah's mind, like whether he cheated, which no, but I also get to hear supposedly from Mike's really good friend, how horrible Natalie is from her mouth.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, assuming so. I'm assuming that.
I didn't see it. I didn't see that. I just saw that she was going to be on the show and a couple sound bites. But that's really, really interesting. Maybe we can hear more from Tariq and Hazel, which they don't have that much to say.
Oh yeah, we talked about Tariq and Hazel. They're so boring.
Yeah, it's fine.
I've been hating them this whole season, but like even this, like
Minty comes and they talk about whether or not they actually had a threesome or not.
Yeah,
and then I hope they really do kind of go into the difference between polyamory and like whatever it is that these two are trying to do.
Do you think that Hazel and Minty boned? I do, for sure.
I don't want to think of Hazel having sex
with anyone.
Yeah, like I can't picture her having sex with Tariq either. Like I'm just like,
oh, I can.
She's had a whole kid, and I'm just like, no, I don't. These are lies told by the devil.
Oh no, I think that definitely they boned, and I definitely think that it wasn't good. It wasn't good for Hazel, honey. She was not into it. But supposedly the drama is like Sean looks at Minty. He's like, when's the last time you talked to Tariq? And she's like, couple hours ago. And then like Hazel's like, what? And like I guess there's some context to that, which I'm sure the context is like Tariq being like, I'm giving the producers your phone number or whatever it is, like for you to dial in or whatever. But Hazel's like, you told me you would never do that again, whatever. They're just like in separate rooms or whatever. And she, I guess, has COVID or whatever.
Yeah, I have no idea. These two, I think it's just all producer made drama because they don't actually have any drama.
Yeah, absolutely. They have nothing, Yeah. Hazel wants an African-American woman. Oh, we know.
So, yeah, new season starts on the 25th. This is Happily After, HEA. Is it the 25th? Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, so we have the part 2 next week, which will be the 18th, and then the 25th. Did you say the 25th or the 25th, right?
Yeah, 25th. So, I mean, they don't even give us a week. Girl, no. I need a week.
No, you don't, honey.
1 week.
No, Stephanie, honey, you're on the production schedule, honey, and you keep filming. Do you understand me? No, sandfly bites or no sandfly bites.
Yeah, I'm just like, it's a lot, but we're gonna keep trucking on. If I have to go live every night, I'm doing it because
every night.
I think I'm just gonna go live tomorrow too for the tell-all because I was gonna film after this, but we stayed on for 2 hours and 30 minutes. This wasn't in my contract, Chris. I literally told Chris yesterday, I said, Chris, after we talk, I'm going to film my video. And then she kept me on here for 2.5 hours. And I'm not filming. I'm taking this off, washing this down, and going to bed.
I don't know how you would feel because like my mind is mush. You'd be like, what did I talk about? What I haven't? I'm sorry. You're right.
I didn't even really get to watch it. That's why as well, too. So I missed that whole, I have to watch it tomorrow.
Oh yeah, you missed you missed the Yara and the. I think that's important. Yeah, I know that's definitely important.
And I missed whatever happened with Betty and Julia afterwards. After I dropped out because I had to talk to my aunt.
Oh yeah, but I'm happy you talked to your aunt. Because that's like family.
Yeah, I'm gonna go see her May 2nd. She said to come over and she'd cook for me and that we'd have godmother goddaughter time. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're my godmother.
Where are you going?
San Diego.
Great. Yeah. Great. All right, my loves. Okay. We're going to wrap it up. Can you believe it? Thank you so much for being here with us as we took a long time to break down everything that happened in this tell-all, but I'll be honest, I loved it. It was really juicy. It was really, really great. I'm like so into it. I thank the producers for it, and I'm also into part 2. I also want to thank Wah for being here for, as she said, too long and on her contract. Wah, where can the good people find you?
You guys can find me at Just Call Me Wah on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Clubhouse.
Great.
Yep.
And
thank you so much for all of your support. I appreciate it. We appreciate you. Heather, thank you so much for the super chat. Scorpio, thank you for the super chat. Was it Vicky Vale that gave you a super chat earlier? Mm-hmm. Please see the sheep girl. Hey, girl. Hey, haven't seen you in a minute. And yeah, thank you everybody else who's in the room. We totally appreciate all your love and support and you guys rocking with us for the past 2 hours.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram. And I did tweet a whole bunch of jokes. If you want even more Chris Ferry humor, I did tweet a whole bunch of live tweeting jokes about this episode on my Twitter. And by a whole bunch, I mean like whatever I could do at the moment. Okay, at Chris L. Farah on Instagram and Twitter, also the Clubhouse situation. And of course, you can join my private Facebook group, Vanity Fair. That's amazing. A lot of the mods that are here tonight, and I love you all so much for the work that you do inside these chats, but also post great tidbits in that Vanity Fair. So, and if, so we should, maybe I can also, Scorpio, I could talk to this. Maybe I can like also find a way to like, if people want to see the OnlyFans thing, be able to like, I don't know. I'll find out. Whatever. Okay. God bless. So other than that, we're going to do our outros. We're going to do Waz first, and then we'll do mine. And, truly also.
Up in the right-hand corner, you're going to push in broadcast. Just want to remind you how to take it off.
Okay. And we also want to make sure that you guys have the best week ever. We're really, really into you. And we're also thankful that you spend time with us. And thank you for the super chats here and the super chats you give on her channel when we're both there. We also, by the way, do a pop culture roundup on Thursday nights on Waz channel at 8:00 Pacific Standard Time, where we get into just pop culture stories, like the funnier ones that happened that week and stuff like that. So that happens on Waz channel. Again, just called me Wah. My name is Chris Farah, Chris L. Farah on social medias. Wah, what's your cool outro?
All right, you guys, that's the end of this video. You guys have a fantastic week. Remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.
Cute, right? Okay, here goes my outro. You guys, take care of yourselves and each other. Stand up for what you believe and make art. Bye. We're so cute. It's gross.